Thank the gentleman for yielding back. Now recognize Mr. Duncan for his 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, this has been in the news, so it's no surprise to anyone, but Congress and the administration are in the process of negotiating raising the nation's debt ceiling. And what that means is the nation has maxed out its credit card, and we've got to go back to the banks and ask them to increase the credit limit. Most banks would ask us to come up with some sort of business plan or model of reforms to show we're going to actually rein in our spending, get a hold of our spending addiction, and show them a plan of repaying the debt. That's what banks do for private businesses that ask for a credit line increase for their business, or us as individuals as we go and get home equity lines and other things. So the nation is $31 trillion plus in debt. That meter's running every day. So General Donaldson, according to the Department of Energy, the misnamed Inflation Reduction Act authorizes it to administer $8.8 billion in rebates for home energy efficiency and electrification projects. The department's Home Efficient Rebate Program will award grants to state energy offices to provide rebates for energy-saving retrofits and housing structures. Additionally, the department plans to issue grants to states and tribal entities for home electrification and appliance rebates program. In your experience, what concerns should Congress be aware of regarding the rebate programs generally?
In general...
And you can aim that microphone a little closer, that works.
In general, rebate programs are in fact risky. There's a tremendous volume of recipients. It can be difficult to have them properly identified. They could be people who are already deceased. Rebate programs are difficult. Grant programs raise some of those same issues. So it's really important, I think, that you combine two things: well thought out internal controls and the use of data analytics, because the volume of rebates moving through some of these programs is going to be staggering. So collect quality data on the front end, scrub it, look at it, check for red flags, take a more modern approach on things such as rebates, and you'll be able to safeguard a higher volume of those funds.
So these grants are given to the state energy offices, and what sort of oversight is there from the federal level of those programs? Because it seems to me like we're just giving the money to the states, allow them to run the programs, and there's not a lot of federal oversight.
There is some concern. I co-chair the group of inspectors general managing IIJA funds. One of our subgroups is state, local, tribal inspectors general. My shop also staffs that group, so we've had a lot of conversations with them. And there is a lot of concern that it is not clear what amount of funds they can use for oversight. They are understaffed. Many of the same things we've been talking about here today can be even worse at a state, local, or tribal level. So when before the federal government transfers large amounts of money in bulk, it has to ensure that the state, local government, or tribe is ready to receive it and can administer it appropriately, or the losses will only continue to domino outward.
Right. When I hear understaffing, I think that federal government created a problem of understaffing because you gave them all this money and required them to do certain things, and states want to give out the money. I get that, but we created the problem by our funding, and now there's going to have to be increases at the state level or even the federal level to increase the amount of personnel, which means government just continues to grow and the dominoes keep falling. This would apply to the Weatherization Assistance Program. That program received $3.5 billion from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, according to the White House. Do the concerns you highlighted in this special report in your testimony still persist regarding this program?
That's another program where they're staffing up. They have the benefit of our prior recommendations because that was a pre-existing program at the department. So the future will tell whether or not those funds land where Congress intended.
Yeah, so we're just through the infrastructure bill, through the misnamed Inflation Reduction Act, we're just growing government and requiring more staffing as government grows to administer programs where the money is given to the state with very little accountability, very little oversight to the state, that the programs will actually work to do the things that the misnamed bills hope to do. So thanks for your clarity on that, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance.